Hi, today we will continue our series with the episode 7 of The House That Fam Built. With this episode, just like the others, I always uh, I don't have a script. I just go by the Spirit and what the Spirit has led me to say. And that's just, it'll just be what comes out. So, um, today we want to discuss The House That Fam Built, episode 7. And the little subtitle is Mansions and Shacks. Okay, so when I was thinking about the houses, the different types of houses, as we touched on before, uh, sand, glass, and stone. And we went on along to discuss that if you come from or you're made up of those houses, the choices that you make, partners, friends, careers, all of these things kind of can stem around having that element as your part of your psychological makeup. Uh, Mansions and shacks is what came to me because a mansion, as we know, is a opulent home. It's big. It has many rooms, as the Bible says. A mansion, regardless of the type or the style of it will always be considered elegant, or something that's a luxury. Whereas a shack would be considered something that is barely held together, something, a place of poverty, or a place where it's not well insulated or well equipped or adapted, not enough room. Sometimes we can have these types of houses within us. And when I say the house of a mansion or a shack, I'm not even really looking at it in the positive way. I mean, you ask me if I want a house right now, I'm going to say, give me a mansion. But that's not in the way that the Spirit gave it to me to show me what it is. That a house with a mansion, a person with that has that in their build, they tend to be full of a lot of work. And we all have work, but a lot of rooms to do the work in. So they might not necessarily be just casting out a spirit of witchcraft. It could be connected to a spirit of lunacy or low self-esteem or depression or sadness or sorrowfulness of heart. It could be, in many cases, like one of mine, overeating, or it could be in other cases with just extreme, with other people with extreme jealousies or manipulations, deceits, lying, thefts. I mean, if you can just think it, you can imagine all the things that can be inside that mansion. Whereas the shack in this spirit-led idea would be the place where you see everything. It's not like the mansion with many rooms and you look and something's hidden, or something can hide, or you don't even know it's there until you stumble upon it. Well, if I'm in a little shack, I see everything. You know why? Because there's not enough room for things to hide. There's not enough space for something to go unnoticed. And that can work one of two ways. They can work at both of them as a positive and as a negative. If you have a mansion and you filled it up with all of these good choices and vices and good vices and things that help you along, different disciplines, those things can be wonderful. Those things can house blessings that you'll be able to pass on generationally to your children. But on the other hand, of course, as we discussed before, that a lot of things can hide in those mansions. It's a lot to clean too, okay? And it's a lot to uphold or take care of or to maintain, uh, whether it's just the elements. The elements is dust, snow, grass. See, people with mansion houses, they have a lot of upkeep. And even if you have good things in those rooms, it's still upkeep. It's still maintenance. Now, when we go to the shack is, as we said, negative in a way. It's not enough. It's barely hold together. Shack could be connected to something in shambles. It could be connected with poverty. It could be connected with where the word shackle comes from. And shackle is another part of a chain, slavitude or servitude. And so we could look at that. But we could also look at the positive of something like that is that when you're in the shack, if you're conscious minded or Christ minded and you're at the place where you want to do the work, you will do the work. Because there's no place to hide, because there's no rooms to get lost in and no mazes and no doors, you're seeing what actually is happening in front of you. And it's about you. It could be about your children. It could be about your coworkers. It could be about family members, your parents, friends. But you're able to actually see it and process that this needs changing. Or if you've managed to have that place, then you can, and it's a positive thing, then you can rebuild that structure. You can take it from the shambles, into something that's cozy and comfortable, enough to fit you. Shack people might not necessarily have room for other people in their lives because they're busy doing the work. And this is for those that are on a positive journey of that. They'll be busy doing the work. So they'll kind of look selfish in a way because at that point, it's really kind of all about them because they've seen a problem and they know that they have no other choice but to attack it or to address it head on. Shack people that want to do the work, their space is so small or confined or so damaged in a way that they're not afforded the opportunity to sit with something they consider intolerant. See? In that mansion, if there's one room not clean, I don't have to go in that room. I can go right up there. I can go back. I can go downstairs. I can just kind of separate myself from that situation. And how many of us today separate ourselves from situations, separate ourselves from people, ignore the things that's happening in front of us and around us. And then we wonder why that mansion, that house gets passed down to our children. And we've given them and they've inherited all of the issues that we refuse to deal with because it wasn't directly staring us in our face. Shacks and mansions. I just can't help but wonder if somewhere inside of us, what are we allowing to sit that we know we need to get rid of? Who are we allowing to be in our company or to be around us? We know they don't fit. We know it's not right. But I'll just look the other way while this is happening or that is happening. See, you have a mansion, you can kind of develop this mentality called just be good to me. I call it a just be good to me mentality, where you can see things that a person does and it's direct character flaws. It could be spiritual flaws. It could be just things that they aren't right. They aren't becoming. But as long as they don't do that to me, I'm okay. So in that mansion, we just go in the other room. We let that person finish doing what they're doing. And then we'll come back and we'll entertain them or they'll entertain us or tell us why. We know that they know better and can do better. In that shack, there's not enough room for that. And that's kind of like the most powerful thing about a shack house. Because you don't have enough room, space, or shelter to cover a lot of sins. So shack people, when they see that friend do that and they know, hey, That might not necessarily be right. They're going to be more quick to recognize it and more than likely deal with it. Handle that thing head on. Let that person know that, hey, that's not cool. We look at it, if we're a Shack person and we look at our kids and we see that and we're like, no, no, no. Not this generation, not this time. We're going to rebuild our house. And this is not going to be a shack. This is going to be a chateau. This is not going to be a mansion for all of these different energies and enemies and spirits to dwell in. This is going to be a home full of light and full of life. So my challenge for everyone today is to be able to recognize what you're in. Are you in a shack or are you in a mansion spiritually? Are you ignoring things? Are you ignoring habits within yourself or other people that need to be addressed? But we're just going to go and hide in another room. And if we're in a shack and we're doing that same thing, then we're just going to play blind and play dumb until the problem is out of hand. And as they used to say, there's no way to put the toothpaste back in the tube because once it's out, it's out. I would like to give you all a wonderful piece of advice that was given to me. One day I was walking down the street and I happened to have been about 16. And so I'm 15 to 16, as you know, with teenagers, I used to walk everywhere. We used to walk everywhere. And when I got 16 fully, I got my car and my dad gave me a car. And so I would drive, but I would walk everywhere. And I saw this Nubian Hebrew guy, and he was just selling oils. And he was just really just talking to anybody that he could, trying to see where everybody's head was at, where their mind was at. And I just happened to walk past him, and I'm like, okay, I don't got no money to buy no oils. I'm on my way from school. I'm seeing them all out here. I'll just be friendly as I always am. And if he says hi, I'll say hi back. So that's what happened. And he said, oh, you said hi. I thought you'd be like all these other teenagers that were walking and just walk past. I said, well, it never hurts to say hi. And he looked at me and he said, oh, it never hurts to say hi. But it does hurt when you see somebody that you could say hi to and you just walk past them. I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, I'm like 15, 16 at the time. And I kind of thought about a lot of people that walk past people. I don't know. It was just something that simple, like just walk past people and not say hi. And I thought about how many times I probably did that, just that day, like just didn't even think about it. And I made it kind of a little silent thing in my head that every time I passed by someone, if they caught my eye, I was going to say, hi. Or I was going to give a little head nod. Something nice, something kind, whether it's a smile or just an acknowledgement that something is there. Everyone wants to be acknowledged. Even the demons in your home want to be acknowledged. If the demons or the spirits or the angels or all these different entities and energies in between didn't want to be acknowledged, the scriptures wouldn't tell us that all of creation groaneth for the manifestation of the sons of God. And to fully manifest as a son or a daughter of God is to be in your Christ consciousness and to be able to recognize them. They groan and long for you. Even bad things long for you. That's why all this is a test, and it's all put here as a test for us. They long for you to recognize it, long for you to pass it. So how do we have a house, whether it's a mansion or a shack, And we walk past it, the things that are wrong every single day, and we refuse to address them. We refuse to acknowledge them, good, bad, or indifferent. And this is the point of walking circumspectively and introspectively. I myself, I choose to walk circumspectively and introspectively. I choose a higher level of honesty, which is forthrightness. And I choose a higher level of integrity, which is internal integrity. What you do when no one's looking. Those are the measuring rods. Those are the lengths or the measuring stick that you look to, and you begin to start investigating your home. Measuring the walls, measuring what your tolerances are, what your intolerances are to different sins or different things. We talked earlier on what my intolerance is I don't really care what people do, as long as you don't hurt animals, children, or the intellectually disabled or disabled people. That's a no-go with me. So while sin and all these things people might say might be the same sin to everybody, one sin is two sins, and fornication, to me, those things get you dealt with. And for me, I have no tolerance for that. But I know myself. And I know that all things can be washed and covered with the blood, but you got to do the work. So stop letting things sit amongst you, dwell amongst you. You see it in your children. You see it in your home. You know why you're in the situation that you're in. Get up and fix it. Don't walk away out of the room because it's inconvenient for you to look at, and you can go and look outside your big picture window and look at the mansion that you have with the beautiful lake and let all those spirits in there. Or you could be so depressed sitting in your shack and you say, well, it's already broken. The wind comes through, the rain comes through the ceiling, and just sit there and not change it. The one thing we are required to do, and this is going to happen to you whether you want it to or not. We decide the way it bends, the way it stands, how rooted we are. You are going to grow. You are going to grow up, and you're going to grow old. This is just the nature of things. You have to decide if you're the tree that grows upward, or if you're the tree that's bending and is broken. And that is the power that you have. That is the identity. That's what you need to identify when you look at, am I living in a mansion full of sins? Or am I living in a shack in shambles? Today's message was a little bit longer. I want you all down in the comments. We want to get our subscriber numbers up, our follower numbers, everything that we're doing between TikTok. If you want to find me also on YouTube, I'm there. It's Conscious Christ, spelled with an X, H-R-I-S-T, capital X, H-R-I-S-T. That last one is in all caps. Contact me. Get in the comments. Let's discuss it. Let me help you. Okay, so we're going to be, we got only a few more episodes of this to go, and then we're going to go on to something else. So I want us to do the work while we're going so that we're just continuing to bring in this new year right spiritually, getting spiritually fit, and just have a wonderful day and do the work. Bye.